First and foremost, thank you very much for sticking it out to the last session of the day. Really appreciate you guys hanging around, and we'll try to end the day on a high note if we can. Really quickly, excuse the voice. We're all yelling at each other at all the events out here, so if I don't sound like Christmas today, please do forgive me. But for those unfamiliar, really quickly by way of introduction, I'm Charles Ifegwu, Managing Director of The Fifth. The Fifth is a global social, creative, creator, and culture agency that works with some of the most ambitious and forward-thinking entertainment studios and consumer brands across the globe to really elevate how they show up on social through creative and creator executions. So enough about us. Let's move on the conversation to my esteemed guest here. So Paramount Plus, as most of you should know, and if you don't, they have the streaming rights to the Super Bowl. So this is a really big and exciting time for the Paramount Plus team. So first and foremost, we'll start with James, Vice President of Global Marketing at Paramount Plus. James, always good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Being that we're here at the Super Bowl, if I could have you really quickly give the audience a quick rundown of what you and the global marketing team's remit and responsibilities are at Paramount Plus and how that intersects with sports.
Yeah, so I mean the brand marketing team for Paramount Plus have been leading that team for the last couple of years, and for the brand, obviously a core part of our value proposition to consumers is live sports. We've had that those rights even going back to when our service was previously branded CBS All Access, so it's been part of our core DNA. In fact, when we rebranded to Paramount Plus, our tagline was actually live sports, breaking news, and mountain entertainment. So we've had to be at the kind of center of our services value to the consumer, and so it's something that we like to continue to go back to showcase that kind of brand value, the brand love.
Awesome, thanks for that. And Rob Stecklow, Senior Vice President of Program Marketing, News and Sports at Paramount Plus. Sports, obviously, is right there in your title. If you could tell us a little bit about all the exciting things Paramount Plus is doing in the sports entertainment world, and maybe give us a quick word on some of the things your team has been doing leading up to the big game, which you guys are playing a big part in.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us. So our team really works on acquiring new subscribers and engaging our current subscribers, and really focusing around our sports properties. So as the streaming home of CBS Sports, everything you would get on your local CBS channel, we carry on our streaming service, the low price of $5.99 a month. And you don't need a cable subscription. So our job is really just to get people to understand that you can watch the NFL on CBS every weekend with Paramount Plus. We have the Champions League returning 2 days after the Super Bowl, so that's another big moment for us. We go right into, and we're in the PGA Tour and the Masters coming in early April, and as well as March Madness. So this next few months is pretty busy. And then when the fall comes around, we're going to be partnering with the Big Ten as CBS has those new rights. So it's really a great platform for sports fans. And because the service is only 3 years old, most people just quite honestly don't know what we carry. So our job is to make you aware that we have the NFL on CBS. We've done some great things with the brand team we're going to talk about, but we have great assets at our disposal like Tony Romo and Jim Nantz and Tracy Wolfson and Matt Ryan and others that we've worked with to really help get the word out, some of our advertising.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a lot of entertainment, a mountain, I think. But yeah, you guys, I think if you have a television or consume content in any way, you recently, in the last couple of years, have been exposed to your Mountain of Entertainment campaign, which is hilarious and fun and light and all the things that advertising should be. So I would ask you, James, can you talk us through how and why you started prioritizing and utilizing, or the thinking behind utilizing some of the NFL talent in that particular campaign, and how the brand and sports teams work together to build out and amplify those partnerships?
Yeah, I mean, one of the cool things about working at Paramount Plus is that we're a playful entertainment brand. And so we've always taken this approach of trying to use humor in a live action approach to cut through the noise of general kind of clip-based entertainment marketing and how do we kind of engage a consumer in a way that's going to have them have this ad be memorable for them for years? And so, obviously, sports is a core part of American culture, and the NFL being a core part of our service, we felt like, when you see this ad, you'll understand kind of why pairing athletes with kids' characters, with Patrick Stewart, with Transformers is just kind of an absurd proposition that works well together. And I think for us, it's helped drive that brand awareness to levels where we were one of the fastest growing brands in the U.S. Over the last couple of years. And so I think our ability to campaign in a way that is somewhat different, is a differentiator for us against some of our competitive streamers. It's really only something only Paramount Plus can do. And so we're, when we thought about taking on kind of this next chapter of the Mountain of Entertainment, we, Rob and I were talking, and we were excited about thinking about how we could introduce more NFL athletes into this space, especially some of the NFL athletes and quarterbacks in particular who have these high personalities that work well in that context. And so we talked one day, and he made it happen, and here we are.
Engaging and funny, and obviously going back to the point about utilizing some of the talent from the NFL, I'd be curious, and Rob, maybe you speak to this, what made Josh Allen, or more broadly, what are you looking for when you're bringing in talent, influencer to support these campaigns? How are you collaborating with them across the team? Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, so this is the first year we actually worked with a player directly. We had some Tony Romo ads the year before, and this year, if you recall, earlier in the season we had Tony Romo and Josh Allen in an ad together. And so what we really look for is players that are fun to work with, they're excited, they want to participate, they have a good social following, and they're generally like the concepts. It just so happens that also Josh Allen loves all of the Yellowstone and 1883 and 1923 content, so he's a big fan of ours, which also really helps, obviously. And so we had a whole day with him where we filmed the ad you just saw, and also some other content. He did a lot of social media content with us as well, and so that's kind of the players we look for. And then Tua came together for our Super Bowl ad in kind of a similar manner, and we're gonna be working with him again in the spring to do some more content for our fall launch. So and the other part of it is really some of the team relationships we have. And I know the Chargers are in the room here, but we have great partners at the teams, and so when we use a player from the team, we have a team relationship. It really just all comes together in that we have an NFL relationship, we have a team relationship, we have a player relationship, and all those things working together really help.
Yeah, and being I like to view these forums as places where we can all learn from and inform one another. Otherwise, what are we here for? So I'd be curious, because this has been a campaign that's now stretched for a number of years, maybe if you can share, this is an open question, some of the learnings that you've taken forth from the first time you guys did the Mountain of Entertainment to now, and what the future looks like for the campaign.
Yeah, and first, just because I wanted to embarrass him, I told him I'd do this. We have our head of creative, Larry Terry Minogue, who's been responsible for these spots.
Big Creed fan.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell.
We've learned a lot from these spots. I mean, I think there was an end card up earlier. We learned a couple of things. I think number one, oddball couples seem to really break through. I think absurdity and the humor, that was something that people talk about. And when we talk about oddball couples, we have this slide up here. When we put out this spot, we put out the wild card weekend, and of course the Buffalo Bills were playing, I believe, was they playing the week? The Chiefs. No, the week before. The wild card week. Okay. They were
Steelers.
The Steelers, yeah, the Steelers, yeah. So we put out the spot during the Steelers-Buffalo game in the wild card round, and some of you are familiar with Bills Mafia and kind of how social forward they are and how kind of insane they are. And our spot went viral amongst that fandom, and so towards the end of the game, the Bills, thankfully won that game. They started to really support the fact that Peppa Pig and Josh Allen are real friends in real life, and so things like Josh Allen is one of those pairing up with Peppa Pig kind of went viral on social, And so Rob and I get into the office on Monday, and we're like, we have to kind of milk this for all that we can. And so we partnered with the team. We reached out to the Bills and said, hey, we want to bring Peppa Pig to the game in Buffalo. And it just so happened that next week they were playing the Chiefs. And so as Taylor is to Travis, Peppa was to Josh. And so that was kind of our approach. And I think it worked. We had a lot of earned impressions for that campaign. We were excited to see fans kind of recalling it. We had some alternative spots that we had filmed previously and got those kind of prioritized. And it just really helped propel this idea of, the Paramount Mountains for everyone, and the fact that all of your different kind of, from kids and family to live sports to big shows to films, like it's all here. It's all part of that household that desires that kind of Paramount Plus subscription that kind of satisfies that need.
And we talk about great partners. Think about the Monday of a huge game. We rang up the Bills and said, hey, we want to bring Peppa to the stadium, and we want to hand out Peppa cutouts to your fans. And they were like, how can we help? How can we do it? And so that was really exciting. Another little inside info, because we talk about the Bills Mafia, and we know that one of their big traditions is to slam on tables, body slam tables in the parking lot. We actually had that, Terry, right, as our original ending. I think some other folks on Park Avenue weren't thrilled about that ending, but it was really fun. Yeah, so we had some good concepts.
Yeah, those Bills fans are crazy. So I think, like, obviously, great execution. I think most brands are consistently in pursuit of capturing that viral moment. But I think there's something to be said about being ready for it and capitalizing on it when it comes. So I'm curious to hear you talk a little bit about what the planning was behind, like, the social part of this, and Josh with Peppa, how your teams responded to that once it went live, and then also, like, give some insights as to what you would advise or how you would inform folks to be ready for those viral moments so they can drive it like this.
One thing that we were ready for, when we do creative and we partner together, we actually, like, you saw a 2-minute video for our Super Bowl ad, and it won't be 2 minutes in the Super Bowl, but there's different cut downs. What's great about our creative team is they don't just cut down spots, they come up with, like, unique versions. So I think we're gonna show a 15, oh, we don't have that one? Okay. So, but we did a different spot where we ran it in the next game, where Josh throws the ball, he says, hey Peppa, check this out. He throws the ball, it goes all the way down, and it hits Beavis and Butthead, and it's a funny viral moment. So we kind of followed it up with not running the same spot over and over, but different cut downs. And then we had Josh Allen and Tracy Wolfson do creative together that we ran in social media. So I think the key is you got to be ready with a bunch of different creative options. And then the viral piece really came out from James, honestly, saying, like, can we get Peppa cutouts to the stadium? And I was like, I think we might be able to. So that was just more of a reaction. But I think the creative variety is really important.
Yeah, that's great. And within Paramount, like, a lot of great IP, you're leveraging the sports, Peppa, various characters. So how have you found success in leveraging your live sports offering to driving or uplift or tune in to some of the other programming? And what advice could you share about cross promo across, like, different IP to keep an audience with a lot of viewing options tuned into what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that's the challenge for all the streamers. We bring people in for sports, and then we want them to sample our originals. We want to get them into the kids and family programming, big time movies, live news. You can click a button and watch live news at any moment. If you want it, it's there for you. So we do a lot of things on our platform. So we want to get you to come back. We want to get you to sample. There's all sorts of algorithms and carousels on the homepage. We have different tiles that we can push out. Our key programs like Halo, which just came out today, is a big one if you go on the platform. We use email and CRM and push notifications, like all those things. But the key is just getting people to come back. And we know from the research, people love sports, but they want sports and something else. And that's, I think, really what differentiates us from the other services, is that we have the sports and we have great and something else. So it's just about sampling.
Yeah, and I think that's why this type of campaign is key. It's because we're showcasing the fact that sure we have these great athletes, this great NFL kind of offering. We've had soccer players in some of our ads previously. It's showcasing the fact that Paramount Plus is something for everyone, and that's kind of the meaning that we're trying to imbue into an amount of entertainment. The fact that there's this great kind of plethora of content that satisfies the need of several different people in your household.
And you took a football game, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, experiential moment in American culture, and you guys found a way to activate in a way that caused a social conversation. I'm curious about how you view the role of social as part of the overarching strategy, how you action social in different parts of the campaign. Just would love to hear you talk about that.
We have great social partners. Our head of social and his whole team is integrated into the creative process, and they help, I think, not only ideate extensions of some of our kind of anthem image campaigns, but they also provide feedback on how it could be made better. I think, Rob brought a great example of us kind of extending the amount of entertainment campaign through snippet or bite-sized kind of content that is more native to social. Something that someone can pick up and easily share with their audiences in a less than 2-minute format, more like in the 15 to 30-second range. So our social partners, I think, for you to have an effective social strategy, your social partners have to be with you in the project from day one, because they're going to make it better that way. They're going to have full kind of visibility into it, and they're going to be able to kind of make it even that much better because they're really the platform experts. We challenge our agency to work with our social team. Our social team is going back and forth on different concepts. Even was on the text chain with Terry this morning where we're talking about how do we kind of further this kind of conversation a bit more online. And so I think it's really making sure that your social partners are with you there from day one.
And it goes back to the creative variety too. Like, I think what's great about our social team is they don't just want the video spot and they're just going to put it on social. They will, but a lot of times they'll add something to it, and then they want variety, so they'll come to the shoots and they're so good. Like, when we don't even know what's going on, they're filming content. Right? They're interviewing the stars in the corner when there's 10 minutes in between the cameras moving, and so like they're creating all this unique content that surrounds the launch of the spot, which is, by the way, it's not easy because they have like their own demands and they want to do certain things, and there's pressures on Drew Barrymore only has this much time and Drew has this much time. So we try and plan out as much as we can and just get as much mileage out of all the content that's picked up.
Very cool. So one last question before I think we'll open it up for Q&A. But just looking at future state, what does the future hold for Paramount Plus, and how are you differentiating from the other streamers who are doing they're in pursuit of very similar audiences? How is sports part of that strategy in terms of how you guys are differentiating? And there's a lot of content options. So how are you keeping that attention of the audience?
Yeah, I think sports will continue to play a big part of what we do. Like I mentioned, we have a big spring. This summer we'll surround all the big soccer that's happening with our Champions League return campaign for the fall. In the fall we'll come back with NFL and Big Ten, Champions League. Like, there's a lot going on. And then I think we'll continue to partner with the brand team because we want to just, again, remind people that we have all this content. So we can do specific NFL ads and then have more brand mountain of entertainment surrounding it. It's also going to be a great year for a lot of our original programming that's returning because they had the writer's strike, so things were delayed. So there's a lot of big original programming coming this fall, this summer, and into next year. So it's a really exciting time for Paramount Plus.
Yeah, and I'll just add quickly, look, launching a streaming service is hard. We're 2.5 years in, and going to come here soon up on our third anniversary, and we spent really the last 2.5 years making people just aware that we are a thing. And I think now we're at the point where we need to figure out why we need you to care about that thing. And so I think for us, having, I would say, great brand work, great sports work, we've got our Kids of Family Theatrical folks in here, our great kind of series work from a kind of individual title, but specific campaigning, I think is important. It's also important to tell people the full story of the brand, and I think that's what we're going to try to do over the next few years is really give people the reason to care about Paramount Plus, and hopefully we're successful at that.
Very cool. So I know we'll probably go to questions, but really quickly, two incredible marketers. And really appreciate
That was great. So my name is Christina. It's on the TV. I love the ad campaigns. I'm a huge fan of Star Trek and Patrick Stewart, so it's amazing. I had a question around how are you guys measuring the success of those ad campaigns? You talked about driving viewership and retention. How are you guys tying all those pieces together?
For this campaign in particular, or just in general?
In general.
I mean, our service is still, we're still focused on, I think, two main KPIs for the business, which is number one, growing the subscriber base, which is not only an acquisition kind of effort. Of course, it's ensuring that our current subscribers are aware of our broadening offering, or maybe becoming more aware of a part of our offering they weren't aware of before. And so I think, for us, it's some of these ads, like generally before it was like, hey, how do we go and tell people about, this is what Paramount Plus has to offer. A lot of the work that we do with some of these kind of broader ads is we're also telling our subs with the same creative work and with some tweaked messaging that this is also something that you should check out. Rob mentioned it earlier, like a lot of people come in just for one thing, but we can get them to try 2 or 3 things, we know they're going to stick with us. And so I think that's going to be a part of our main business KPIs, again, growing that subscriber base, contributing at a higher level in terms of revenues so that we're a profitable business. And I think that's our main KPIs at the moment.
Yeah, and also, randomly, we saw people post on Facebook and Instagram after they saw the Super Bowl ad that they love the ad so much they're subscribing just because the ad's great. We were like, that's a new KPI.
Hi, sorry. Trying to get my voice back these days. I'm Elizabeth. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for the time. Thinking about what you guys do, maybe not so much like upfronts these days, but South by or other sort of tentpole activations that have longer lead times and more curation and divisions that go into it. So when you have these moments of virality and you have these moments you couldn't necessarily anticipate, if you could just give some insight into what would be the barometer for you to pivot into something or saying, hey, now we have all this glory content we didn't know. I'm sure that's not a hard, fast answer, but any insight into how a moment like this might affect what you're doing downstream would be really interesting.
We have a very, I would say, strong research and insights group who are very quick to give us the measurements around how different ads are impactful. I mean, we get that report, less than 24 hours after something releases, and when you see the social volume, you see those reports, so many times, you understand the impact it's having. So, there's obviously anecdotal, less texting around, like, look how the spot's doing, but I think we do wait until we see the true metrics behind, what in social listening work, what is this actually delivering in terms of, conversation volume, frequency, and then when we look at that and we see, the strong numbers, we know we've got something there. So we've got to kind of make sure that we act and react to it in a way, and I think that's why with that Josh Allen kind of case study, Josh Allen kind of big case study, we really felt coming in on Monday when we saw the kind of the strength of it in the social context that we had to do something.
We have a lot of really great senior leaders, and they push us and they support us. Like when we come up with these crazy things, they're like, "Do it," And so when you have that, it makes these viral moments happen quicker, and then we can file them away and sort of say, "Hey, remember when we did this? Let's do that again." So the combination of having that support and then these things that we've done that have worked and just building on them each time has been helpful.
I'm Donnie. You mentioned earlier in the same paragraph making more and more content and trying to get people to care more. More and more people are making more and more content every day. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And a couple of years ago, we did wasn't a promotion, we did basically a test where we put 1,000 brands of potato chips in a single aisle of a grocery store. People shopped until they got to that, and they just kept right on walking. After 5 seconds of realizing what was going on. So as we make more and more content, and we try to get people to care and focus more. How do you rectify that?
This is going to sound self-serving, but as a brand marketer, I believe brands matter, and I think what brands sometimes mean are they're curators of something you love, and I think sure there's millions of social videos posted every second, but I think you follow and you interact and you engage with brands, or I would even call some of the big talent in the world, they're a brand too. Brands that you care about and brands that have had a history of novel, amazing, kind of compelling storytelling. And thankfully, there's a reason we named our streaming service after our kind of 100-year-old studios, because Paramount is a storytelling brand that you trust. And so I think for us, the hope that we have is that you trust Paramount as a storytelling kind of platform. And so that's why, you'll care about the kind of stories that we're putting out there. That's the hope, I think, and I think we've bet on that, and so far it's paid off, and so hopefully it will for the future.
And just to follow up on that too, with the amount of content we create for marketing, a lot of our partners that we buy media with, work with, there's things that rise to the top, and then there's content that sometimes doesn't. And so it's almost like the more we create, if something hits, we kind of can pull that up and amplify it. And so that's why we don't want to just take the spot that's airing on TV and make that be the social campaign, because if it falls flat, there's nothing else there. So it does mean you're creating a lot of stuff, and not everything is going to be really the most impactful out there. But fortunately, we've hit on a lot of them, which has been great.
We have one last question.
I love
Oh no.
This is our boss. We're going to close up now.
That was so good. It was so wonderful to hear you both. I'm curious, both of you, what have you all seen, kind of following up from your question, what have you all seen recently from a brand perspective that you really loved? Another brand outside the family?
I think you and I may have talked about this before, but I'm a big fan of how Airbnb markets their platform, their service. I think one of the most beautiful things about how Airbnb markets is it's from the moment you see an ad all the way to the purchase confirmation, the brand experience is seamless. They're very good at taking I think what is sometimes a drab, like a boring process, which is trying to book a place to stay, to making it more of a compelling window to what you may be able to experience. And so from their kind of outbound marketing all the way down to the product marketing, it's a compelling journey that I've always respected and appreciated. So that would be my answer.
As you can imagine, I watch a lot of football. So in the fall, I think there were a lot of marketers discussing, even friends, like there weren't that many great campaigns over the last year. My boys love the Burger King stuff, BK, have it your way, and that's kind of resonated for a while, so I give them a lot of credit and they've been sticking with it. So that's one that I kind of remember this time around.
Get stuck in your head,
Yeah.
BK.
Yeah, it's a good little tune.
Play it as you go to sleep. You just can't get it out. They did a good job.
Yeah.
This was phenomenal, guys. Thank you so much.